Today's episode is all about the MACD indicator, one of the most popular, most used indicators around. Most new traders go to the MACD straight away, but today we're going to talk about the different settings that you can use to get the most out of the MACD, and they're not the default settings. Let's roll the intro. Okay, so there's different settings you can place in the MACD, and we're going to bring up my chart here that is my MACD chart. And right now we have the daily chart, and that's what I trade on. I trade on the daily time frames. So different MACD settings. Let's zoom out here a little bit and let's have a look. We have the MACD. This is the default setting, the 12, the 26, and the 9. Then we have two other options that we're going to look at. We have the 3, the 10, and the 16, the 8, the 17, and the 9. So those are the different settings that we can use. You can use many different ones, but these other two, besides the default, are some of the most commonly used by traders. Okay, so let's have a look at how they are different and what kind of signal that they're giving us. So on the MACD, if you already know, this is the zero line, right where this bar chart is, and the bar chart really doesn't offer us any information. So if you can delete it off your charts, delete it. If you can't, just ignore it, and that's what I pretty much do. Okay, so above the line is bullish, below the line is bearish. So when we have a crossover like here, where this blue line is heading above the orange, you're looking for an uptrend to begin. But because it's below the zero line, I always think those are weak signals. Again, we have a weak signal here and a weak signal here, and as you can see, there was an uptrend. Man, it was a steady uptrend, but it wasn't a great uptrend. So what I'm always looking for is a crossover that takes place above the zero line. Okay, so you can see that this on SPY right here has a potential for upward trend because it seems to be a more bullish signal. Okay, so what are we looking for? Well, I'm going to bring some easy ones up to first to see an upward trend. We're going to go and have a look at Tesla. So Tesla here, and we know Tesla had this nice run up here, as you can see from just after this earnings section, just went up and up and up and had a little bit of a dip, but it's kind of recovered, so it's all right. So which ones of these MACDs would have got us in at the best possible time to go in this? So let's zoom out here. Okay, so we're looking for a crossover above the zero line to indicate when we should get in. Okay, now this MACD on the standard one kind of rose up above here, but what I'm looking for is a break where these start building up here, and these bars, again, I said that they're not important, but they're just identifying the gap between these two lines, how big the gap is. So if you're looking here, what I'd be looking at, yeah, it's above the zero, but where was the crossover? Well, the crossover above here was right around here. So let's put a line in here. So this is pretty much where it would have said get in on your normal MACD. Okay, now on the 3, 10, 16, the signal to get in would have been a couple days earlier. Again above the zero line and right about there. Okay, now on the 8, 17 MACD, where was that? So that was around here, breaking above zero line, showing that the blue line was heading above the orange, and whatever colors you use is up to you, but this is like the fast line, and this is one that's showing an uptrend. So for Tesla to get in on that nice uptrend, the MACD right here, the 3, the 10, and the 16 was the best MACD that you could have used on that kind of trade. So let's have a look at space, because that was kind of similar, at another big uptrend, and then we'll pick some that haven't had a big uptrend. Okay, so we saw it here, we had this nice run up here. So where did these different MACD settings get you in on MACD? Well, this one really didn't show a crossover. See, the crossover happened below the zero line, so I would have been cautious about that. And maybe the only crossover we had was right around here on this one. Okay, it's above the zero line crossover, so we could say it got us in there at the earliest. Okay, so this one here, this one's tough to pick. Like, you've got your 3, your 10, your 16 there. The crossover here happened, the blue line is above the zero line, the yellow one is lagging. So you could either say, depending on, and guys, don't use this indicator on you, always have another confirmation indicator. You could either say it got you in here, or you could say it got you in here. Okay, depending on how you read these charts. So you're either in with the standard MACD settings, or you're in here at the 310, or in back here with those. Now this 8719 one, the only crossover that took place was about here. I'd say right about here. Okay, so on this one, depending on how you read it, are you going to jump in and what your other confirmation indicator is? The 31016 would have got you in way back here, or the other two, the default settings and the 31016 would have got you in here. Both would have been really good times to get in with the MACD. And again, find another indicator that gives you a confirmation that there is an uptrend in place. Let's have a look at, what else can we have a look at? Let's maybe have a look at Amazon. Let's see if we can find an uptrend on Amazon that we can look at. Let's scroll out here. Okay, so let's have a look here. So this, even in this times of COVID, we have this set up here. Okay, so if an upward trend was beginning right around here, where our settings tell us to get in. Again, I'm not looking for any crossovers below the zero line. I'm looking for a crossover above the zero line. So this one here, it gives us here, and you will say, well, that got me in early, and add that right up if I got here. But there's so many times that there can be a crossover below the zero line where it just dumps back down. Okay, so you really need to find that crossover above the zero line. And you can look back here again. You could look back here and see that this would have been a really good time to buy Amazon. So you have here crossover above the zero line. You could maybe zoom that out. Maybe you could get that in a little bit. Maybe that would have been a good place to get in. Where else could you have got in on this one? Right around here. Okay, but you would have had this choppiness, and eventually, if you're a long-term player, it would have worked out good for you. On the 3, the 10, the 16, the default ones, you probably would have got in around here if you had the confirmation. You could have got in here as well with that confirmation, and right about here as well. Now for this section here on the default settings, I would have left that alone. I would have missed out on that and not had the opportunity. You're not going to get everything with indicators. You're going to miss some depending on what your strategy is. Okay, so let's have a look at the 8, 17, and 9 settings. Let's have a look here. Right around here would have been an entry. This would have been an entry for me right around here as well. And again, no entry here because the only crossover was here. And if you use other indicators, you might would have gone in at another time as well. But the MACD signals that I use would not have got me in there. Okay, so those are the MACD. Different things. You got your 12, 26, 9, 3, 10, and 16, 8, 17, and 9. To me, the 3, 10, 16 looks pretty good. Okay, so what is going to be a good MACD setting to get us out of these things? So let's go back to Tesla. I think Tesla had a pretty much of a drop after its rise. Was there a signal to get out of Tesla? Okay, so it depends what you want to use as your get out. Okay, you can do this as your crossover to signify that the downtrend has begun. So you would do it there after the close. You could do it here on this one, but again, this exit strategy using these is okay. It's definitely not your best one. You know, this one kind of bounced around. You'd probably say it went below here. So you have different times to get out based on the MACD. So the MACD for your entry might be good, but for your exit, I'd suggest you use a different indicator. Maybe your ATR, maybe some kind of trailing stop loss that you come up with your own strategy on. So MACD, I think, is great for getting in. For getting out, you want to use something else. ATR, a lot of people use the ATR, or just set your own strategy of a drop of so much, a trailing stop loss as price continues to go up. So again, guys, there's different settings for the MACD. If you want to deep dive into what MACD is, go on Investopedia. There's lots of videos on YouTube, but these are 3 of the most common inputs that you can put in: the 12, 26, 9, the 3, the 10, the 16, and the 8, 17, and 9. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, post some comments down below what strategy do you use for MACD, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Thanks, guys. Till next time, keep on trading.